Hey guys, this is Mike, and this is going to be another video series about another Android game I'm making. This one is not going to be like the last one, Overblock. I'm actually going to show the code again. So this game is called Connect Me, because I couldn't come up with anything better. So yeah, another puzzle game. I love puzzle games. This game is going to be another array-based puzzle game. So the point is, okay, so let's see, here's your phone. It's going to be portrait again. I guess that's about the size. I don't know. So you're going to have like this grid in the middle here. I don't know how much padding there's going to be on the edges. Oh, I gotta think about aspect ratio too. So this phone size is probably going to be the thinnest. I'm not sure what it is right now. 16:9 is probably the highest, so I'm gonna base it off of that, maybe. Okay, so we got the thing here. So the grid is pretty much gonna be something like this. And I'm using the three main colors again because those are awesome. Something like this. And the point of the game, first of all, the controls are that you can actually you can switch any two adjacent elements. So I can switch this red and this green. And the point of the game is to try to make it so that all of the colors are adjacent to each other. All of the same colors, I mean. So that means that if I switch these two, and if I switch these two, then I would have a red over here, red over here, red over here, green, and those are all connected. And then I would have greens over here, those are connected, and then I would have blues over here, and those are all connected. And you would finish the game. And the point of this is to finish in the least number of moves possible. So I'm gonna have to do something that I haven't done before in a long time, at least since college, is actually use some of the search algorithms that I learned there. Shortest paths, breadth first search, stuff like that, to find out what the minimum number of moves are, also to figure out whether or not the grid is solved. So for now, I'm just going to set up the grid. I'll talk about the algorithm to check whether or not it's solved afterwards. So I did create, finally, a new GitHub account here, so that I don't have to keep sending you guys Dropbox links for the project. You can just clone it over here. Yeah, hopefully they get ignored. I haven't tried libgdx projects yet with Git, so hopefully this works fine and you don't have to do much setup. Okay, so I have this commit called base project. This is basically where I stripped everything down and I set up my own state manager. I know a lot of people ask me why I don't use the screen class, and not really sure. I mean, this is an interface and I would rather have it be a class. And it pretty much does everything that I need, but I don't know. Also, it only has the render method. I like to keep those separate. I know I can just make separate methods, but I'm going to keep with my own state. So let's get started. First things first. All the game stuff goes in here. We're going to need a grid. Let's do a little bit of planning before we head down into here. So the grid is going to be this square. So the grid is going to have pretty much text larger than that. So the grid is going to be a class, and it's going to have an array, a 2D array of whatever these are. I'm probably going to make a class for that. Let's call it cell. Jesus. Sorry about that. And each cell is obviously going to have a certain type, certain color. I could do a bunch of public static ints, but I'm probably going to just use an enum like cell type or something. Yeah. And those are going to have like red, green, and blue. Yeah, that's probably going to be it for that to get us started off. That's the extent of my planning right there. So grid. Oops. Oh wow. Don't feel so good right now. Anyway, we're going to need a cell class. And like I said before, the grid, what's this? Why is this yellow? What's yellow? Oh, it's green. Right. Grid is going to have a 2D array of cells. I'll just call this grid. So here I'm going to do grid as a new cell. But I don't know what the size. I could put in like int width and height here. But then it's going to be an empty cell array. I want it to be set when you create the grid. So maybe I'll pass in the types like that, so I can do, let's keep track of the number of rows and columns. So num rows is equal to types dot length, and num calls type 0 dot length. I can set those here. Now, like I said, here in my limited planning, I'm going to use an enum. Cell type, this is just going to be red, green, and blue. Pretty simple. And this integer array is going to pretty much be either 0, 1, or 2, depending on the position and the enum. So red is 0, green is 1, blue is 2. So let's set those over here for int row 0, rows less than num rows. Row plus plus, column 0, column less than num calls, column plus plus. We're just gonna create a cell here. Is new cell, but I have to give it a type. So types row column. So for cell, let's create that constructor. This is just going to be, usually when I have an enum, let's make it public. Whenever I have an enum that I'm going to be using a lot, and I need to know that like the positions of them, I usually just have the, what do you call it, array of these on hand, so I don't have to keep making them. Cell type dot values. Wait, I did this wrong. Cell type values. There we go. So this just gives back, cell type dot values gives back a cell type array of all of these. So this is array is pretty much just cell type dot red, cell type dot green, etc. So using that, I can set the type because I gave it an integer. So I can do cell type is equal to cell type values type that I passed in. There we go. So that cell will be that type. What else? Drawing on the screen probably is next, since all the logical stuff is out of the way. So the grid is going to have a render method. And what does it need to render? First off, it needs to render itself. It's going to have a background of something. So let's give it a background color. Let's set it to, for now, just black. New color 000. Or gray. No, let's keep it black. But then, what's the background color of the thing? gx.gl.gl clear gl20.gl color buffer bit clear the screen. What exactly is the color of this? It's black, that's nice. Let's change it to something else. gx.gl.gl clear color. Okay, let's set it to something light. 9f. Okay, cool. Great background. It's kind of small. I wasn't gonna record full screen, but I don't know. I'm just gonna test it out for now. Width and height. Let's just put it back to regular. Hopefully you can see the whole thing. I don't know what's going down here. Getting it cut off. Whatever. So that is our background. So the grid has to draw itself. So the color is black, so I can do sb.draw. I need a texture. This is why I always have my trusty asset 1 pixel texture. This is just a 1 pixel, which is just white. Just for testing purposes. And let's just keep it text. And we'll set that up. Text enable new texture, and this is pixel.png. So we're gonna draw this text. Let's test it for now. 100. I don't even know what the arguments are. This is position, right? 0, 0, and this is size. 100. So let's make a new grid. Private grid. Oh, this is no longer a placeholder state, right? So I'm gonna have to change the title of this to, let's say, place state. And I don't need these test prints. Update. Well, grid doesn't need an update. This is one of those more event-based games. So grid.render sb. Also, I need to actually set it up. There is a new grid. But remember, our constructor takes in a 2D array of ints, so I'm going to need that. I'll just call it G. So here I'm going to pass that in. Okay, so let's just copy what I drew over here. So this is 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 0, 1, 0. Totally forget. My memory is terrible. 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2. 2, 0, 2. 0 is red, remember? Because of the enum types. 0, 1, 2. Yeah, close enough. If it's different, whatever. So that's the grid. I'll pass that in, and it should render. But render here only draws a test 100 by 100. Oh, null pointer exception. Sprite patch must be called begin. And I totally forgot about my camera. Set projection matrix cam.combined sb.begin sb.end. Okay, where's the, oh, there it is. It's down here. I can barely see it. Right, because the pixel is white. So let's sb.set color here to color.black. And there it is. 0, 0, 100, 100. Hopefully, let's make it higher. 600. Yep. Okay, so first off, we need to draw the grid. We need to know where it is on the screen and how large it is. So, let's have private, public. Static and size is going to be, or width and height might be different. So width is going to be, how am I going to do this? For now, let's just assume that the grid is going to be square. Keep it simple. So this is just going to be cm.width, the actual width. I'm setting it to 480 by 800 right now, but that might change. So the whole thing across is 800, and, or not 800, 480. And I want the grid to have some kind of padding on both the left and right sides. Let's see. So public static padding. This is padding for one side, so 20 pixels here, 20 pixels here. So the size is just going to be cm.width minus padding times 2. So the whole thing minus just the two paddings on the left and right side. Yeah. So that's the size. Now that I have the size, I also need a position to set this at. So obviously x is going to be forward by padding. Private float x, private float y. So x is going to be just padding. I'm just going to move it forward by a padding amount, and y is going to be, well, the whole thing over here, this is height. So, and I know the grid size already. So I want to center it y-wise, so these two should be equal. Y is equal to, what is this? If I take this, subtract this, I will get these two combined, so divided by 2. So cm dot height minus size divided by 2. SB dot set, or what am I doing? Dot draw, and then I'm going to draw the texture at position XY, size. Cool. 20 pixel padding on the edges. Looks like it's centered vertically as well. Cool. And now the cells. The grid is also responsible for drawing all of the cells. So for in row 0, rows less than num rows, row plus plus. For int col 0, col is less than num cols, col plus plus. I'm just going to do grid row column dot render SB. Of course, cell doesn't have a render method yet, so we're going to give it one. Public void render sprite batch SB. Now, when I draw stuff here, let's grab the texture again. Again, this is not going to be final with the textures. This is just for testing purposes. Ooh, texture pixel.png. Okay, so render sb.set color. First off, I need the right color. Red is red. So I'm just gonna put the color information in the enum. Color, and color, set the color here, and then get the color. And I'm gonna need to set those in the constructor. So this is just pure red, maybe. Wait, I think they have static instances. Yep. Okay. So I can just do here cell type dot get color. And then I should draw. But again, just like with the grid, I don't know the X and Y position. I don't know the size of each cell either. Sucks. So I'm probably going to do the same thing as grid with the static sizes over here. So I'm gonna do public static int size is equal to, well, I don't know what it is yet. I'm gonna know what it is after I set the grid size, because the size is pretty much just gonna be whatever the number of rows and columns is divided by you know, the whole grid size. So this grid is this size, so each cell should be 1/3 of that. So size. Okay, I think I could set it over here as equal to grid.size divided by. Oh, I don't have the number of rows and columns. I can't set it from there. So over here, let's just do. Once I have the number of, I'm assuming this is square again, so the number of rows and columns is the same. That could change in the future. But for now, I'm just going to assume they're the same, so cell.size is equal to this size divided by num columns for now, because that's what I'm visually doing here in my example. So that's cell size. What is the X going? Oh, right. So position also, I need the XY, and then I'll just draw it to size. Private float X, private float Y, and here I'll just pass that into the constructor. This dot X is X, this dot Y is Y. So when I make the cells over here, oh, I have to actually add them to the grid. Okay, so when I make the cells over here, I have to set the position also. So what is the position of these with regards to the grid? I have to remember that OpenGL is Y upward. So that means this is going to be 0, 0, and this is 2, 2. How's that going to work? Because I want it to be 0, 0 up here, and this is 2, 2. I'm used to Y going downwards, and it makes more sense Y going downwards for arrays. First off, I need X and Y in here at least, because that's the offset for the grid. So in the X direction, it's fine. I can just do X plus column times cell.size. Hopefully you can see that. If not, I'll just move it down here. So I'm creating a new cell of this type, this X and Y position. Row times cell.size, but this is going to be upside down, because again, it's Y up. So this is 0, 0. We'll see. Let's just draw it out for now. It's not even Y centered. What? I did Y plus. Oh, I set the Y padding down here. I should have said it before I do use them. Alright, there we go. So that's set. Not sure why there are little border things going on here. Probably some, what do you call it? Approximation issues or something. Anyway, this looks pretty good, except I want padding on each of them. Like over here, I want a little bit of space in between all the cells, so I'm gonna give the cell also a padding. Let's give it a padding of 10 pixels. So that means this, the difference between this and this is gonna be 20, because I want the padding to be half here and half here. So these are 10 each. So the total between these two is gonna be 20. That's still gonna be 10 though, because I don't have extra padding there. Anyway, for now, let's just do padding 10. So when I draw this thing, I'm going to have to draw it, since the size is like this, I'm gonna have to draw starting with padding forward and padding down, and I'm gonna have to draw smaller than the thing by padding times 2. So X plus padding, Y plus padding, and size, I'm going to put it down here. X plus padding, Y plus padding, and size minus padding times 2. And that should give me 10 pixel padding on all the edges. Right, and this is what I'm talking about. This is 10 and 10, so this is 20 between these two, but it's still 10 up here on the grid. So it's not even with the outer border. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to grid here, and I'm going to change my draw to allow for the extra padding, cell padding over here. So I'm just going to make the grid a little bit larger. So when I draw it, I'm going to draw it X minus padding, or not this padding, cell padding. Y minus cell padding. And size plus cell dot padding times 2, and that should even it out. Yeah, okay, so now it looks pretty similar. Not exactly though, it's weird. It also looks kind of stretched. Oh right, because this isn't exactly 800. 480 by 800 is like 480 by 7 something, because my screen size, my screen height resolution is like 768, and for some reason it doesn't initialize to 800 if my screen size is smaller than that. So it's gonna look a little squished this way, I mean. So I'll just offset it by maybe a little thinner, like that. That looks fine. So, like I said, it's upside down. See the blue here, the red is going to be here, here, and here. But in here, the red is exactly opposite. It's vertically mirrored. And that's because it's Y up. So over here, how am I going to do this? Should I just render it upside down? Okay, so if I keep the grid like this, but I just render it upside down, when I click on this, it would, yeah, let's just try rendering upside down. So I'm going to change the position to, instead of row, times cell size. I'm going to do num rows minus row minus 1. So you can see now it looks like the same: red, green, red, green, blue, 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 red, blue. I'm not going to be sure about the coordinates though when I'm hitting. Yeah, that should be fine. So for now, that's going to be it for this video. Just setting up the grid, making sure I'm doing everything right, rendering everything right with paddings and whatever. Obviously these are just fill-in graphics. It's not going to look this bad when I actually finish. So that's it for this video. In the next video I'm going to have like the switching mechanic, switching two different cells by clicking and dragging. So yeah, like I said, I finally made a GitHub account, so I don't have to keep giving you guys Dropbox links. And yeah, you can actually set to whatever commits you want, so you can start from all the way at the base project or whatever. Let's see, and video 1. What do we do here? What did we do here? We set up grid, and cell, render grid and cell. That's pretty much it, right? Why does it say minus test state and plus test play state? Shouldn't it be like the copy? Whatever. Renaming, I guess, if you completely change it. Not sure. Anyway, so I'll just commit and push. Create or import. Why doesn't this thing automatically, if you don't have any, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Oh my god, I don't know where my putty key is. Jesus, stop. Putty. Add key? I have a key already. I need one. Yeah. Okay. Close. Your commit succeeded, but your push failed. Great. How do I'm gonna have to find out how to load the key automatically. I only have one. Anyway, so that's the end of video 1, and you can fork off or clone off of the GitHub here. Let's see if it actually went through. Yeah, end video 1. All the changes. So yeah, thanks for watching.